me feeling like I'm academics.
Conduct either way, he's continuing to make.
Okay, I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. All right, perfect. Let's go into Kentrell Gaulden sentence. By the way, the judge has some really nice words for Kentrell Gaulden, aka NBA Youngboy, as he was sentenced to a little bit over 2 years in prison. Let's
so
get
this
to
is
these
just
proceedings, okay?
really a smaller cog in the bigger wheel of.
By the way, this is a really nice judge, and as much as sometimes we talk about whether it's a prosecutor, maybe sometimes we feel like the judge is A, B, or C, or D. Sometimes we'll accuse the judge of being prejudiced against maybe sometimes someone of notoriety or somebody maybe of color. This judge, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of spoilers, is a really nice judge. Listen to this proceeding that is wrapping up everything with NBA Youngboy and him getting the sentence. Check this out.
Ultimately seeking justice against Mr. Gaulden.
A Louisiana rapper living under house arrest in Utah found himself in even bigger trouble when it was announced he was charged with being the leader of a prescription drug fraud ring. Now we're learning details of the resolution everyone agreed to in the state case as he prepares for sentencing in a federal case as well. This is the story of NBA Youngboy. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. 25-year-old Kentrell Gaulden is better known to his fans as rapper NBA Youngboy. Now, despite having almost no radio airplay, he is one of the most listened to artists in the entire world thanks to streaming. According to Spotify, Youngboy has more than 16 million monthly listeners on its platform. That's outpaced by the likes of Drake, Taylor Swift. His YouTube page passed the 10 billion view mark over the summer. But the artist's online success, it has been punctuated by arrests out in the real world. We remember back in 2016, U.S. Marshals, they arrested Youngboy, accusing him of jumping out of a vehicle, shooting at a group of people on a South Baton Rouge street. He was facing 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder for that, but he ended up pleading guilty to a reduced charge of aggravated assault with a firearm. He was given a 10-year suspended prison sentence, 3 years probation. Fast forward, 2019, while he was still on probation, Youngboy was apparently involved in a shooting out in Miami. Someone inside of an SUV shot at Youngboy, injuring the rapper's girlfriend at the time, killing a bystander. Youngboy...
We're going to get to the court footage. He's just giving you pretty much what I do in terms of, backstory.
Fired back. His charges for the actual shooting, though, were dismissed, but he violated a special condition of his probation. He wasn't supposed to be spending time with 2 specific men who were connected to that Baton Rouge shooting, but he was. So for that, he had to spend 90 days in jail and the rest of his probation on house arrest. Then, 2020, prosecutors indicted Youngboy and 15 other people on drug and weapons charges after they filmed a music video in a vacant lot in Baton Rouge. He was eventually taken into custody, locked away in Louisiana, but his lawyers had asked the judge if he could be released on house arrest and be moved to a property in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. He had spent time in Utah as a child through a youth outreach program, and he'd grown close with what he called his adoptive family there, so they thought this might be a good alternative. And according to courtroom testimony, his attorneys believed that this move would, quote, help keep him out of trouble. And you know what? The U.S. District Court judge allowed it. Hey, by the way, we have been trying to actively cover updates for you in this NBA Youngboy case as it's developed, and I gotta call out our Youngboy got caught up in a prescription drug fraud ring. Earlier this year, Youngboy was booked into jail on 63 counts before eventually being charged in court with 46 of those counts. And you remember his federal gun case, that
Chat, temperature check. Are we good? We good? I'm seeing. Is everybody good? All the respective chats. I'm monitoring King Akademiks chat and Twitch chat. Everybody good on the Academy chat? We good on the Rumble chat? Ooh, sorry. Queen Celeste, you want me to cover the follow up to the E-Dog situation with J Main? Okay, we will. Everybody good? Okay, I'm just trying to make sure everybody good. Okay.
That was moving forward too. And he was actually hit with 2 more gun charges in connection with this drug fraud case. Now, in exchange for having his gun case transferred from Louisiana to Utah, Youngboy agreed to enter a guilty plea and signed paperwork pledging to do so once his case was moved. Now, in the interest of saving time, money, and effort, all the parties came together, the defense, the state
NBA Youngboy is so skinny.
prosecutors, the federal prosecutors, to do what's called a global plea.
Hey, whenever, I don't know if Youngboy will do a documentary. Well, I actually do have some insight on that, but can't say. If y'all ever see an NBA Youngboy documentary, and I'm cleared to give my input and give my raw opinion and feedback on certain shit. If y'all ever heard what was going on up at Utah, it would blow your fucking mind. Whatever you're thinking about, it's 10x. I don't care what you're thinking about. Whatever you're thinking about is 10x. Obviously, that was obviously a lot of that you can't share while he's going through certain stuff. But now that he's getting things resolved, hopefully at one point those stories could be told. I'm telling you, Gravedigger Mountain was a documentary. Remember, I told y'all that.
And that means that more than one case can be rolled into the same sentence. It's a way to resolve everything. So Youngboy has agreed to plead guilty in the federal case.
Let me just stop. Nothing gay. You see, we've been talking about Diddy and all these people. Nothing gay. Nothing gay at all. At all.
And when he appeared in court on Monday in Cache County, Utah, his team alerted the court that a deal had been worked out and that Youngboy had planned to enter a no contest plea to several of the charges.
Your Honor, it's anticipated that he will enter those pleas as charged. In other words, identity fraud as a third-degree felony with 2 counts, forgery as a third-degree felony, 2 counts, 6 counts of pharmacy fraud, which would be those count 4.
And that's a Class A misdemeanor.
And those are all Class A misdemeanors. There are 6 of those. And all of those the counts I just recited, the ends are all the pharmacy fraud cases. We are asking the court to waive time for sentencing. I have some specific requests as it relates to sentencing about the language, but the agreement is.
By the way, remember I told you that Drew Finland, Drew Finland came in. This is a state case. I believe. Right, let me look at the judge's name. It should be the state case. Yeah, you can see the Utah. Yeah, it's a state. Well, I mean, it's still District of Utah, or the District of Utah. So I think this is to cover the prescription cases. Drew Finland is on this. That's the lawyer that's going to represent Dirk. Drew Finland has, from my knowledge, has never shown up to court though, so he appears virtually. So the lawyer that's going to represent Dirk, when he appeared in hearings, he appeared virtually for Dirk, and he obviously spoke to the prosecutors outside of court to get these deals set up, but he's not actually in court. And you got to think, who the hell want to go to Utah just to do this one thing? He has a bunch of other shit going on. The judge did approve him appearing virtually, though. I don't think, is he back here? Is he back here or back here?
Yeah,
I don't see Finland. Yeah. So yeah, this is not the same lawyer for this guy right here is not the same lawyer for Dirk, but he is on the overall case where there was a global plea. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying.
That my client will pay a $25,000 fine to the court. And Your Honor, I have a cashier's check in hand. I'm holding.
Gotta bring the cash, man. Show me the money. Hey, you know what they call Youngboy, right? 100 mil from the garage. 2023. Youngboy made 100 mil from that garage, man. Of course you could get that little $25,000. Let my boy go back free. You feel me? We got a cashier check right here, Judge. Remember that 25? Yeah, take that shit.
It now that I would like to publish to the court at the end of this. Upon payment of that, the state has agreed to a 402 reduction for each of those 4 felony counts. They would all be reduced to Class A misdemeanors, and the case would close at that point in time.
Okay, so NBA Youngboy entered a no contest plea to 10 charges out of the dozens that he was originally charged with, and this is all connected to identity fraud, forgery, unlawful pharmacy conduct. And when you enter a no contest plea, a little bit different than a guilty plea, no contest is basically saying, look, I can tell you that if this goes to trial, probably going to be found guilty, but I am not admitting my guilt. I'm not admitting wrongdoing. Now, as part of the deal, the felony charges were pled down to Class A misdemeanors.
I'm going to give Mr. Williams a chance to put on the record just a little bit more detail about what's happening with the federal sentence and the amount of incarceration that Mr. Galden will be receiving as to why it might make some sense for the court to accept the plea bargain. Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Your Honor, thank you. I'm happy to do that.
Oh, and by the way, Mr. Finland is going to appear. Remember what I was telling you? Mr. Finland, the big boss, Dirk's lawyer. You will see him. Matter of fact, you want me to show you him? Hold on, chat. Oh, Lord. I'll show you Mr. Finland now. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Here it is.
State of Utah versus Kent.
This is the raw footage here. And first of all, you see Jeremy, who is in his local council, or no, not one of his councils, not local council, actually. And Finland is going to appear. You're going to see him over here virtually. Here we go. Where's Finland? Right here. Big boss. Just look at this guy. Look at this. You know, he's saying, thank you for the millions, YB, and I'm about to go get some millions from Dirk, and I'm going to keep running it up, man. Okay? That nigga probably like, nigga, I'm not going to no motherfucking Utah, nigga. Catch me on Zoom. Anyway.
For you to pay that.
Okay, so he was there, you know? And, okay, let's just keep going through this, though.
That, Your Honor, the agreement that my client has reached with the government, the federal government,
global plea deal. Here we go.
Is he's already entered this plea. This is a matter of public record. He reached an agreement that has yet to be accepted by the district court. I should qualify that a sentence of incarceration of 27 months in the Bureau of Prisons would be a reasonable sentence. And we're awaiting sentencing on that currently. But the position here is that that is a significant sentence. Candidly, it could be that.
Hey, H-Sound Gal, thank you for the $10 donation. I just made you mod, by the way. We need a female mod in the academy. No, the King Akademiks YouTube. So I just made you mod as well. Thank you for the donation, though.
He were sent to the Utah State Prison on this. The board may release him far sooner than that. But he's going to do this 27 months within federal custody, which is why we're asking the court to follow this recommendation and this plea agreement that we've reached of just closing the case now. Then he can go.
If you notice, YB just staring down the whole time, you know, not giving much body language.
And remain in federal custody and go do that time when that sentence is handed down.
So 27 months in prison on that other case, and once he's out of federal prison, Youngboy isn't off scot-free. He has to follow strict probationary rules for 60 months. That's 5 years, or else he goes back behind bars.
And as part of that federal probationary period, would Mr. Galden be required to, I assume he would be subject to probation searches that would involve ensuring that he is not possessing or using any dangerous weapons, such as firearms. Likewise, no illegal drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So remember, he has a state case and a federal case. He's going to be doing time federally. That's going to actually serve for both of them. This is a state court kind of just saying that, okay, whatever the Fed said, we're down to close it and just he'll do that Fed time. I wonder who's going to manage the probation. Is it going to be Utah or is it going to be the feds? Now I don't have that much knowledge about how probation is different if it's federal as opposed to the state, but we all do know that 6ix9ine just got locked up basically for, failing to adhere to his federal release. And by the way, also a real quick update on 6ix9ine. Me and him, we're in contact. Okay, so the boy's good. All right.
Things of that nature.
That's correct, Your Honor. And federal probation is a sort of unique animal.
Okay, so federal probation, we get the answer. Not state of Utah governance probation. It's gonna be feds, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because shit, the feds, they don't play around with nothing.
In the sense that it's akin to probationary terms in state, which is to say that they could impose the entire sentence that it was initially available to impose if there were to be a violation, but he would have federal probation officers for that period of time.
And Your Honor, I would just add to that too, built within the federal code is any violation of probation that includes possession of a controlled substance requires automatic revocation of the term of probation. So there is a lot riding on our client doing well after the Bureau of Prison Time and then for 5 years on probation.
Now, the judge, like you do when anybody's entering a plea, questioned Youngboy about his willingness to accept this deal, to plead no contest, and also check to see if anything could be unduly influencing his decision.
Mr. Golden, have you had enough time to speak to your attorneys about
Yo, his head is just down the whole time.
this decision to enter into this plea bargain?
Yes.
Wait, is he not looking at the judge at all? His head is just down.
Have they gone over with you the rights that you would be waiving by accepting this plea bargain and entering no contest pleas and being sentenced today and having this case closed?
Yes.
Mr. Golden, are you on?
Hey, is he not looking at the judge at all? Or am I tripping? Now, this is not a still image on the right. This is actually, both of these images are live. This judge is really nice, though. I know some judges would be like, look at me.
Under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Are you on any medications right now?
No.
Are you thinking clearly today and understanding everything that's happening in court?
Yes.
Has anybody forced you or coerced you to get you to accept this plea bargain?
No.
Are you pleading no contest today because you believe that the government does have sufficient evidence to be able to prove each of these 12,
2K brother says, will he be allowed to perform outside the U.S. if he gets out?
Yo.
The nature of his AJ, hold on one second. The nature of his full probation stipulation, that's going to be probation, right? And the judge is going to give some stipulations there. We don't know about his international travel. And by the way, that's a great question. I'm going to flag that, chat. Remind me to go dig up paperwork, because we're going to find out. This is going to be federal probation, so it's whatever the federal judge says. It appears that the judge in the state case is saying, as long as the federal judge and their probation department monitors certain things, I'm down to allow them to administer this time to you, and I'm okay with saying you have served your sentence with you administering your time, and I'll defer to them, but we're going to see what they say. I mean, it seems unreasonable if they're saying that he could never travel outside the country, but we will see. Okay, remind me, I'll check that out. AJ, just give me 1 second. Let me just finish this, and we got some questions to ask you. Very important. Stay on the line.
Each of the 10 charges that you would be entering a no contest plea to today, beyond a reasonable doubt?
No.
Are you acknowledging that even though you're maintaining your innocence, that the government would still be able to prove these charges in court potentially, and so you believe it's in your best interest to accept a plea bargain?
No.
In order.
No, he's supposed to say yes. He said no, though. He's supposed to say, So he's pleading no contest. So when you plead no contest, it's basically saying, hey, listen, I'm not contesting these charges, and because I'm not contesting these charges, it's this underlying admission that you're saying you believe that the government would have been able to prove these charges. That's why you're not contesting it, right? So you're not contesting it, and you're not saying you're guilty. So I think the judge is going to correct him and say, no, you have to say yes to this, and be like, maybe you need to talk to your attorney. That's what I think. I haven't heard this yet.
Bargain.
No.
Yeah, right here.
In order for me to accept your no.
Yeah. In order for him to accept the plea, you have to say yes. So he's going to say, you got to talk to your lawyer or something.
In order for me to accept your no contest plea, I just need to better understand and make sure that you are acknowledging that the global resolution of these cases is in your best interest, and that there is some basis for you to be accepting the plea bargain. There is some evidence that you believe would justify you accepting the plea bargain. Are you able to acknowledge that?
His lawyer's talking to him. We see finally his head raised. His lawyer's saying, bro, remember we told you to say yes to this question?
Yes.
Okay. And now we get the yes.
Obviously, this is necessary. It's important for the judge to make sure a defendant understands what they are agreeing to, what they are giving up, what their rights are, because the last thing that anybody wants is for them to enter into a deal and say they entered into it under duress or they didn't quite.
Playful Anxiety, thank you for the 20. She's one of my favorite supporters. I actually follow her on the gram. She don't post though.
I understand what was happening. I have to go back to the courts. This is clear. Now, the judge asked the prosecutor to
By the way,
provide.
if you ask why I follow her, she's the most subbed person. No, she's the most gifted subs, I think. She gave the most gifted subs on Twitch, and she's on YouTube now, like, donating and gifting the most. So I had to follow her. Like, it's the least I could do.
A factual basis for the allegations being made so that it would be on the record with the court. This is very standard, and anytime somebody enters a plea, you kind of want to list out what exactly we're talking about here. And for us, that gives us more details on what exactly Youngboy did.
Let's have a factual basis to support the 10 charges he's pleading to.
Your Honor, the defendant is ultimately criminally responsible, particularly under Utah Code 76-2.
Now this is the prosecutor that's sitting down. He's addressing the court. Now, this might be tougher for Youngboy. You could tell Youngboy don't want to talk at all. When they say they need a factual basis, he's going to read off a series of questions. Hey, Youngboy, did you call the pharmacy and act like a doctor? He's supposed to say yes, right? He's supposed to say yes, even though some nolo contendere, you don't have to. That's no contest, by the way. That you don't have to admit. Like, for example, with this is how great Brian Steele is. With Young Thug, he didn't have to admit for a factual basis of him running a gang, because that was important for him, because he was going to face millions of dollars in civil suits. So they took his nolo contendere plea without some of the factual criteria of him saying or admitting to certain shit. Like, for example, with Gunna's plea, which is an Alford plea, he had to say, yes, YSL's a gang. That's part of the plea. He had to say it. He had to admit it.
202 for a large-scale prescription drug fraud ring that has been known to have acquired various prescription medications, specifically promethazine with codeine, which is a cough suppressant that's heavily abused Schedule 5 controlled substance in the state of Utah. And those were secured from multiple pharmacies in Cache County, as well as other pharmacies in northern Utah. Mr. Galden had acted with others in this criminal activity, particularly where there were two co-defendants, which were recently had their cases resolved before this court. And those co-defendants were intercepted as they were trying to pick up the fraudulent prescription at Larry's Pharmacy in Smithfield here in Cache County. Those two individuals were using Mr. Galden's vehicle.
Why do I think Youngboy's head is down the whole time? Like, he's clearly sober. He's locked up. It's not like he's high. Do you think he's embarrassed? Or do you think he's just like, bro?
I mean, I don't think he's embarrassed, man. When you're in that position, you're not. What point does it have to have ego? You know?
No, no, it's not about ego. It's like if I'm in. So part of like I would think what court is like submitting, right? Which means is again, even the toughest gangster want to look like he is a little bit of you want to humanize yourself. Obviously, this is a plea. This is not like this is not a trial where the jury's there or is not. Even though this is technically sentencing, the plea's already negotiated. You kind of want to look at the judge, bro. He's just looking down, like you know what I mean. Like you kind of want to be attentive because the judge could definitely say, "I'm not accepting this plea." Right? The judge could always say, "I'm not accepting this." So you kind of want to,
So you think that the judge could take that in a way of disrespect, like you're not being attentive, like
I,
there's a risk there.
yeah, I think an arrogant judge could, honestly. I've
Okay.
seen. Did y'all see there was a situation in a case where the judge literally said, "Yo, when you come to my court, you have to be dressed a certain way or whatever." Like some judges could do that. No, not some
Yeah.
judge. A judge could do that. It's up to that person. This guy's a really nice guy. You get what I'm saying? This guy's a really nice guy, but he could be like, "Sir, listen, look at me when I'm talking to you. I'm gonna give you a chance here." Like he could definitely do that. He could definitely
Yeah,
violate.
it's a definite possibility. Like there are definitely some judges that get off on the power trip, but I think in this situation, he's kind of blessed that the judge that he has doesn't necessarily lean that way. So I don't necessarily think he'd take it that way.
No,
So I
no,
don't
no,
think it's gonna hurt him.
no. I agree because of course the judge went along with what the prosecutor recommended. But hear what I'm saying. If you're young boys lawyers, like you want to coach your client, right? You want to be like, hey, listen, when the judge addresses you, you say yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor. You want to, look at him as he's addressing you. You don't want to be looking menacing. And I think that might be a problem with Youngboy too, which I don't know. Maybe that's why they might tell him to look down. Because Youngboy kind of has like this menacing look when he looks at people. Like Youngboy has this. Everybody know that Youngboy look.
You saying young boy got resting bitch face, bro?
Is this resting like I'm gonna fuck you up face? So maybe his lawyer's like, bro, if you can't change that, just look down.
Look down, bro.
For real. No, I'm serious. Like I'm serious. Like, cause imagine if he's just doing one of these like I'm gonna fuck you up type shit. The judge might be like, hold on, man, this guy really. No, I'm serious. Like there has to be, like again, for anybody, even if you've gotten a traffic ticket or a DUI, like your lawyer is gonna talk to you, be like, hey, listen, when we get in front of the judge, when they address you, try to speak up, project your voice. Hey, don't say this, and this, or hey, listen, everything's gonna be read out for you. All you need to say is yes, Your Honor. Don't say ma'am. Don't say miss. Don't say mister. Don't say yes, sir. Just you need to say yes, sir. Like they kind of coach you a little bit. So I'm wondering if him just looking down, it kind of seems odd. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm wondering if they're like, yo, bro, you have this demeanor that just won't play well. Just look down and look sad. If you look down, you look sad. If you look at him, looks like you're threatening him. I don't know.
To make the pickup, and they were detained by law enforcement, and shortly thereafter someone contacted law enforcement pretending to be an elderly woman to whom the fraudulent prescription belonged. The prescription was listed to be for a Gwendolyn Cox, but this elderly woman, who was clearly someone pretending to
Gwendolyn Cox. Yo, you can tell they got a sense of humor. Gwendolyn Cox. Like, who do you think Youngboy was around when he came up with that name?
to be an elderly woman, said her name was Gwendolyn White, and couldn't provide a birth year. This is important because fraudulent names such as Beatrice White, Bethel White, Carolyn White, Harriet White, Anna White, and Gwendolyn White were all being used through this scheme.
Yeah, so according to prosecutors, the doctor's name on fraudulent prescriptions was actually a real doctor in Provo, Utah. But when investigators contacted him, he didn't have any patience with the fake names or know anything about the fraud. Prosecutors also say Youngboy called in prescriptions under his own name, but with other key information changed.
In addition, there was one prescription called in for Contrell Galden, but the date of birth for that prescription was in 1953, which was clearly a false date of birth and is consistent with some of those date of births used with the false elderly women names throughout this fraudulent scheme. That prescription was picked up by an individual who was intercepted by law enforcement. Shortly thereafter, promethazine with codeine, along with other prescriptions, had been called in to that same pharmacy for Mr. Galden, utilizing his accurate date of birth. Mr. Galden, however, while he was on a federal probation, was only afforded a single doctor to issue prescriptions with a single pharmacy, and the doctor who called that prescription in was inconsistent, and that pharmacy was inconsistent with those which had been allowed through probation. In the end, there was a search warrant executed on Mr. Galden's residence. Law enforcement found a prescription bottle in Mr. Galden's bathroom inside the master bedroom. The bottle was for a Caroline White, one of the known fraudulent names, with the corresponding prescribing doctor who had confirmed the fraud. The prescription was for doxycycline, and the prescription bottle was consistent with the time frame and patient information for the promethazine with codeine that had also been picked up, according to a subsequently gathered Doppel report. Also in the bathroom was a prescription for doxycycline to Contrell Galden, also prescribed by the same doctor and previously confirmed as fraud. This is consistent with the promethazine with codeine that had been prescribed with Contrell's fake date of birth, and a prescription bottle of promethazine with codeine was also found inside the defendant's bathroom with no prescription label on the bottle. And a further search of the defendant's residence yielded 3 more bottles of promethazine with codeine.
After the prosecutor read everything into the record, NBA Youngboy officially entered his plea to all 10 charges.
To the charge of pharmacy fraud, a Class A misdemeanor, 6 separate counts. How do you plead to each 6 of those charges?
No contest.
The court finds that you have knowingly and voluntarily entered your no contest pleas. I've signed this statement of defendant and will now enter that into the record.
And at the end of the hearing, the judge had a few more parting words, comments for Youngboy before sending him on his way.
Mr. Galden, I've seen so many times that good men and women.
Okay, he looked up at the judge. Okay. W, Youngboy. W, Youngboy. Okay. W, Youngboy.
Who have a lot of talent and potential, that they can be robbed of that potential when they start to really struggle with their addiction. So I don't want that for you. You seem like a very talented young man. I'm hoping in your future that once you're done with your federal prison time, that you can be really successful on federal probation and have a really bright future where you can reach your full potential in every aspect of your life. Best of luck to you, Mr. Galden.
Thank you.
Anything
Thank you, Your
further?
Honor. That's all I have, if I could
Okay.
excuse.
You may.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you all.
So, $25,000 fine, 27 months in federal prison, possibly less with good behavior, and then 5 years of probation. Now, as we learn more about what's next for Youngboy, we will make sure to keep you updated.
Yeah, this is the full thing. I think is that the full?
Is apparently 27 months, and after which 60 months of supervised probation, where you'll be monitored to make sure that you're doing well in your active recovery and that you are staying out of trouble and not having any dangerous weapons, including firearms, in your possession. Mr. Galden, I've seen so many times that good men and women
Okay.
who have a lot of talent and potential, that they can be robbed of that potential when they start to really struggle with their addiction. So I don't want that for you. You seem like a very talented time, that you can be really successful on federal probation and have where you can reach your.
That's it.
That's all I have, if I could
Okay.
excuse.
Okay. All right. 27 months, man. I think I did a timeline on it. I think Youngboy will be out of jail. We're talking maybe in a year. I think next December, December 2025, or at the latest, I'm thinking March or April 2026. But I actually think it's going to be 2025. Remember, he's getting time served from May. All right, he's going to get time served from May. Yo, AJ, you here, brother? AJ not even here no more. God damn it. I was trying to figure out what's going on with
He
the
cut out.
the
He
meat
cut
mill
out.
joint. Holy. All right, all good. Ain't tripping. Okay. All right, people. So that's what's going on with NBA Youngboy. And we obviously do wish Youngboy the best of luck. You know, I've spoken to his people. He's in good spirits. And